Welcome to the deep dive. Ready for another deep dive? Today we're heading into space to explore a scientific controversy that has everyone buzzing.
It's about this interstellar object, Oumuamua, and whether it could be, well, a sign of alien tech.
I know, right? It's a story that, well, it just makes you think about, like, are we alone in the universe?
It really blends the latest science with those age-old questions,
Uh-huh.
It's going to be a wild ride, so yeah, buckle up.
All right, so picture this. It's 2017, and astronomers spot this thing zipping through our solar system.
And I mean zipping. Like, so fast, it had to have come from outside our solar system.
Right, like, ooh, interstellar visitor, first one ever confirmed, too.
Yeah, a total first. They called it Oumuamua, which means scout in Hawaiian.
And I guess they started, studying it, trying to figure out, like, what is this thing?
Exactly, but the thing is, it didn't act like a typical comet or asteroid. It was weird.
So not your average space rock?
Not even close. For one thing, no tail, like a comet.
But I thought comets, like, always have tails.
Usually, yeah. But this one, nada. And yet, it was accelerating, like something was pushing it, but we couldn't see what.
So it was like getting a boost from something invisible.
Right, that's what they call non-gravitational acceleration, a
Mhm.
big clue that something strange was going on. Think of it like a sailboat. You don't see the wind, but it's pushing the boat forward.
Gotcha. So at first they thought maybe it was a comet, just with a super faint tail, too faint to see.
Yeah, that was the initial thought. But then the Spitzer Space Telescope took a look, and, well, no signs of the usual stuff you'd see around a comet, those carbon-based molecules.
So not a comet, what else could it be?
Oh, they had a bunch of other theories, each weirder than the last, like a hydrogen iceberg, just a giant chunk of frozen hydrogen floating through space.
A hydrogen iceberg. Okay, that's pretty out there.
Right, but here's the problem with that idea. Hydrogen, it evaporates really easily, like way too easily to survive a trip across interstellar space. It would have vanished long before reaching us.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what else?
Well, another idea was this, like, dust bunny thing.
Yeah.
Imagine this super fluffy structure, all porous and made of dust particles.
A giant space dust bunny, that's something.
I know, right? But then you got to think, how would something that fragile survive the sun's heat? It would just, like, disintegrate.
Sounds like they were trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Pretty much. Nothing they knew of could explain what they were seeing. And that's where Avi Loeb comes in, this Harvard astronomer. He's got a radical idea.
Oh yeah, I've heard about him. He's the one who thinks it might be alien tech, right?
Bingo. He says, look, all these natural explanations, they're possible, sure. But they all rely on stuff we've never actually seen before. Why not consider something different, like something artificial?
I mean, that's a pretty bold claim, right? It's not like scientists are just throwing the aliens card around every day.
True. Most of the scientific community was pretty skeptical, to say the least. You know that famous Carl Sagan quote, "Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence."
Yeah, it's like the golden rule of science.
Right, and for good reason. But Loeb, he has a counter-argument. He says, extraordinary conservatism leads to extraordinary ignorance.
Whoa, I like that. So he's basically saying, if we're too scared to even consider ideas outside the box, we might miss something huge.
Exactly. Think about it. There was a time when people thought the idea of planets around other stars was crazy.
Right, and now we know exoplanets are everywhere.
Exactly. So dismissing something just because it's weird or new, it could actually hold science back. Loeb wants us to be more open-minded, especially when we're dealing with something totally unique, like Oumuamua.
That's a fair point. So what exactly about Oumuamua made Loeb think it might be artificial? Like, what specific evidence is he pointing to?
Well, one big thing is how it get that push as it went around the sun. Remember, it was accelerating in this weird way.
Yeah, like it was being propelled by something we couldn't see.
Right. Well, Loeb says that kind of movement could be explained if the object was super thin and reflective, like, imagine a solar sail.
A solar sail, like a giant, thin sheet catching sunlight to move through space.
Exactly. And the thing is, nature doesn't really make sails, does it? That's what got Loeb really thinking.
I see. So this weird way it moved, it hints at something being deliberately designed, not just a random space rock.
That's the idea. He even pointed to something we made back in 1966, this rocket booster called 2020 SO. They rediscovered it in 2020, and guess what? It was getting pushed around by sunlight, just like Oumuamua because of its shape and material.
Wow, so we accidentally made something that acted like Oumuamua.
Yep, and if we could do that by accident, Loeb says, imagine what a more advanced civilization could do on purpose.
Mind blown. So he's saying Oumuamua could be like a piece of lost alien tech just drifting through space.
That's what he calls a technological relic, maybe from a civilization way older than ours. I mean, think about it. Most stars in our galaxy are billions of years older than our sun.
Whoa, so there could have been civilizations out there long before ours even began, and this could be like a leftover from them.
Wild, right? It's like finding a message in a bottle, but instead of a bottle, it's this weird object hurtling through space.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? It's like, what else is out there?
Exactly. And that's what leads Loeb to this idea of space archaeology. It's like, instead of digging up ancient cities here on Earth, we're looking for traces of alien civilizations in space through the stuff they might have left behind.
That's so cool. So instead of like listening for alien radio signals, we're looking for their like cosmic junk. It's like trying to call the Mayans on the phone versus going and digging up their ruins, right?
Perfect analogy. And Loeb says space archaeology, it could teach us so much, not just about aliens, but about ourselves too. He even talks about this idea called the Great Filter.
It's a great filter. What's that?
It's this idea that maybe civilizations don't last very long. Maybe they destroy themselves or something. So by studying these like remnants of past civilizations, we might learn from their mistakes and maybe avoid the same fate.
Whoa, that's heavy stuff. It's like looking into a potential future for humanity by studying the past of some alien civilization.
It really makes you think, right? But on a lighter note, imagine if we found some alien tech that could, I don't know, solve climate change or something.
Right, like a cosmic treasure hunt with like world-changing rewards. But, okay, back to reality for a sec. If Oumuamua is long gone, how do we find more objects like it? And I mean, space is huge. What are the chances of even seeing something that small?
That's the thing. Loeb doesn't think Oumuamua is one of a kind. He points to something called the Copernican principle, which basically says we shouldn't think we're super special. Like if one of these interstellar objects came through our solar system, there are probably tons more out there.
Right, we're just one tiny little spot in a vast universe. There's got to be other stuff out there.
Exactly. And we're getting better at spotting those things too. Loeb's really excited about these new telescopes like the Vera Rubin Observatory. It's going to be so sensitive it could potentially find something like Oumuamua every month.
Whoa, every month. That's incredible. But wait, just seeing them isn't enough, right?
Yeah.
We need to like get up close and personal to really figure out what they are.
You got it. We'd need much better images, maybe even send probes to those objects.
Yeah.
And Love's been pushing for more funding to study these interstellar objects and look for what he calls technosignatures.
Technosignatures, what are those?
Signs of alien technology, basically. Anything that screams, hey, this was made by someone. But it seems like that kind of research, it's always overshadowed by the big budget projects, the ones focused on theoretical physics and stuff.
Yeah, it's like we're more interested in looking for invisible particles than for evidence of other intelligent beings. Kind of strange when you think about it.
Loeb thinks it's because academia can be really risk-averse. It's safer to fund research based on stuff we already know, even if the payoff might not be as revolutionary.
So we're playing it safe, even if it means missing out on potentially the biggest discovery ever.
That's the risk, yeah. But Loeb, he's not afraid to take risks. Actually, he's involved in a project that's kind of similar to what Oumuamua might be.
Wait, are you talking about Breakthrough Starshot, the project that wants to send tiny spacecraft to Alpha Centauri using light sails?
Yes. Loeb's the chair of their advisory committee. It's this crazy, ambitious project, privately funded, with some big names behind it, like Yuri Milner and Stephen Hawking.
And they want to send these tiny spaceships to another star system using light sails. That's like straight out of sci-fi.
I know, right? And they're aiming to do it within a few decades. Which makes you think, if we're already working on light sail tech, is it that crazy to think a more advanced civilization might have done it centuries or even millennia ago?
That's a good point. I mean, we've come a long way in a short amount of time, technologically speaking. Who knows what's possible for a civilization that's had thousands or even millions of years to develop?
Exactly. And that brings us to the big question. What if Loeb's right? What if Oumuamua really was a sign of alien technology? What would that mean for humanity?
That's a question for the ages, and one we'll have to explore further in our next deep dive. Stay tuned.
It really does make you wonder what else is out there, what they might have achieved. The rate of technological advancement, it's not linear, it's exponential. What seems impossible now might be child's play for a civilization that's had, thousands, millions of years maybe to evolve. It's like, think about it, comparing our tech today to what the Romans had.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even be able to comprehend the internet.
Yeah, their minds would be blown.
Totally. And in the same way, we can barely even imagine what a truly advanced civilization might be capable of.
It makes you feel kind of small, you know?
It's humbling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes you question the way we've been searching for extraterrestrial life, too. Like, we've always focused on listening for radio signals, right?
Yeah, that's the classic SETI approach, right? Searching for signals, for messages.
But Loeb, he
Yeah.
points out, that's like trying to, I don't know, call the Mayans on the phone. Their civilization's long gone. No one's going to pick up.
Makes sense. We could be missing all sorts of signals from civilizations that are, well, not around anymore.
Exactly. What if they're not actively broadcasting anymore? What if they've moved on, technologically or otherwise?
So instead of listening for signals, Loeb's saying we should be looking for, well, stuff, right? Physical evidence.
Exactly, like
Oh.
Oumuamua, right.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't alien tech, it shows us that physical objects can travel between stars. What else might be out there drifting through space?
It's like instead of trying to eavesdrop on a conversation, we're looking for the, I don't know, the archaeological record, the remnants of what was.
Yeah, like a cosmic graveyard full of clues about civilizations that might be long gone.
Whoa, that's pretty profound. It's like, what if we find the ruins of an alien city floating out there in space?
Who knows what we might find? It's such a fascinating concept, and it really makes you ponder, like, what would it mean for humanity if we found concrete evidence of another civilization?
Yeah, even if they were long gone, just knowing we're not alone in the universe, it would, well, it would change everything, wouldn't it?
It would be huge. I think it would depend on what we found.
Hmm.
A simple artifact, that might just spark curiosity. But if we found evidence of a civilization way more advanced than us,
Yeah, that's where it gets, I don't know, a little scary maybe. Like, what if they were so advanced we couldn't even comprehend their technology?
that's classic science fiction territory, right? The encounter with a technologically superior alien race would be a good thing, a bad thing? It's hard to say.
It's like, which is more terrifying, finding out we're not alone or finding out that we are?
Loeb actually talks about that. He thinks finding proof of other intelligent life, even if it's extinct, would be a good thing, even if it challenges our whole view of ourselves.
It would definitely make us rethink our place in the universe.
Totally. It might force us to reconsider what we even mean by intelligence and technology.
Yeah.
Like, what are there forms of intelligence out there that are so different from ours, we can't even recognize them as such?
Right. What if there's life out there that's, I don't know, based on pure energy or something? We wouldn't even know how to look for that.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Mhm.
Like, the universe is so vast, we've barely scratched the surface of what's possible.
Speaking of scratching the surface, let's get back to Oumuamua for a minute. Even if it wasn't alien tech, it definitely shook things up in the scientific community, right? It showed us that, well, stuff can come from other solar systems.
Oh, yeah. It sparked a whole new area of research. You know, studying interstellar objects, seeing what they can tell us about everything, really. The origins of life, how planets form, all sorts of stuff. And who knows how many of these interstellar objects have already passed us by without us even noticing.
It's like we were so focused on our own little neighborhood, we didn't even realize there was a whole galaxy out there to explore.
Perfect analogy. This tiny little object came along and, opened our eyes to a whole new universe of possibilities.
So what's next? Where do we go from here?
Well, practically speaking, we need better tools, right? More powerful telescopes, instruments that can see farther and fainter objects.
Like the James Webb Space Telescope, right? That thing is going to be amazing.
Oh yeah, the Webb is a game changer. It can see so much farther than anything we've had before. We'll be able to study the atmospheres of planets and other solar systems, maybe even find signs of life.
That would be incredible. But it's not all about technology, is it? We also need like a shift in mindset, a willingness to consider new ideas, to be open to the unexpected.
You're absolutely right. We have to be willing to challenge our assumptions about what's possible, especially when it comes to something as profound as, alien life.
And that brings us to you, the listener. What do you think about all this? Does the possibility of alien life excite you, scare you, or maybe a little bit of both? Has this deep dive changed your perspective on our place in the universe?
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive into the mystery of Oumuamua, I want to leave you with this thought. Whether Oumuamua was just a strange rock or a sign of an alien civilization, it's expanded our sense of wonder and possibility. It's a reminder that the universe is full of mysteries, and we're just beginning to explore them.
So keep looking up at the stars, keep asking questions, and never lose that sense of awe. The universe is out there, waiting to be discovered.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today, from like Oumuamua's grand entrance to, all the debates about what it could be. It's a story that really makes you think, about science, about our place in the universe, everything.
It really does. I mean, it blends hard science with those big philosophical questions, like science fiction coming to life in a way.
Right, and it taps into something like primal. Humans have always looked up at the stars and wondered, are we alone? It's a question that's driven so much of like our science, our art, everything.
And it's pushed us to do amazing things. I mean, think about it. From Galileo's first telescope to the James Webb, our desire to understand the universe, it's led to some incredible advancements.
And now we're talking about sending spacecraft to other star systems. I mean, breakthrough Starshot, that's just like next level.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it's also important to step back and consider what we've learned about ourselves along the way. Studying the universe, it kind of forces you to confront how small we really are.
Totally. It's like that Carl Sagan quote, we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. It's like we're not just observing the universe, we're a part of it, participants in this grand cosmic story.
Exactly. And our actions, they have consequences, even on a cosmic scale. As we explore the universe, I think we need to do it responsibly, with respect for the delicate balance of things.
That's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of discovery, but we can't just bulldoze our way through the cosmos.
Right. And I think Oumuamua, it's a good reminder of that. Even if it wasn't alien tech, it showed us that the universe is full of surprises, things we can't even imagine.
And it's a reminder that, well, we need to be prepared for those surprises. If we want to find more Oumuamuas, more evidence of, maybe even other civilizations, we need to keep investing in the tools to do that.
Absolutely. More powerful telescopes, new instruments, new ways of looking at the universe. That's how we make progress.
And we need to keep an open mind, be willing to consider ideas that might seem crazy at first.
Yeah, that's how we push the boundaries of science. That's how we make those groundbreaking discoveries.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Oumuamua, I want to leave you with this. Whether it was natural or artificial, it's expanded our sense of what's possible. It's a reminder that the universe is a vast, mysterious place, and we're just starting to understand it.
And that's what makes it so exciting, right? There's so much more out there to discover. So many mysteries to unravel.
So keep looking up at the stars, keep asking questions, and never lose that sense of wonder. There's a whole universe out there waiting to be explored.
This is The Deep Dive. Signing off. Until next time, keep exploring.